Welcome back, fellow Brick fanatics. DJ Bricks here, back for another video. Today I have a review on a Lego DC Comics set for 2021. It is based off the Dark Knight Trilogy for reasons that we'll get into a little bit later in the intro, but for right now, set details are, it is called the Batman Tumbler Scarecrow Showdown. It is set number 76239. It is recommended for building ages 8 and up. It has 422 pieces, and it retails here in America for about $40. And getting into why it's based off the Dark Knight Trilogy, apparently the designer behind this set made this as a mock originally, before he was even became a Lego designer. So they made a new one, and he kind of had to modify it just to get into the legal realms of system, not using illegal techniques. It's also based off of Batman Begins, which we don't really get, didn't really get sets for. So we do get our first movie version of Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow, which is nice. And there is some other stuff with those figures we'll get into in a little bit. But without further ado, speaking of which, let's get start deconstructing the set, seeing how it stacks up, starting as always with the minifigures. Again, at the first minifigure of the set, it is Scarecrow, based off his appearance in the Dark Knight Trilogy. I never thought we would get Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow in Lego form officially, so it is nice getting it. Let's talk about his accessory first, because that is the most bizarre thing about this figure. He comes with a pearl silver stud shooter. The old style, we are getting a newer style here in 2022, but this is one of the last few sets to have the old style. And it is in a rare color. We only ever got this in a few other sets that also had Cyborg in them for some reason. But what this is supposed to be is it's supposed to be a fear toxin gun that shoots fear toxin out. That's what the trans yellow greenish studs are for. That's supposed to represent the fear toxin. I say it's weird because he never has a gun like that in the movie. His fear toxin is either dispersed through his mask, or I suppose in one scene he does throw some dust in Rachel's face, so I suppose that's where they got it from. But I think the Lego designer just threw it in here for playability, which fine. But going over the actual figure, you got some nice torso printing with his plain business suit that he wears in the movie. You got a little bit of the mask and the noose around it hanging down there, which is nice detail. You got some nice printing for his mask in how it's represented in the movie. You got some nice printing for the eye holes, the mouth, all this nice stitching detail. And then going around the back, you just have more of the back of the suit and the back of the bottom of the mask, and then you just have a few of the clips that hold the mask onto his head. So it is pretty nicely done. And the next figure, of course, is Batman, based off his appearance in Batman Begins, his armor from that movie. It's nice getting the suit again, considering the last time we got it was in that big UCS Tumbler set from 2014. So this is a nice way to get it again and get it into a semi-cheaper set for people who actually want it. Going over his accessories, of course it's Batman. He's going to come with a Batarang. We've gotten those many times pretty much every single time. And then he's got his grappling hook, which for the version that is in the Dark Knight Trilogy movie, this is represented pretty nicely. They use that Overwatch generic pistol based from that theme, and then they just do a little bit of gold there. Two of the studs with a hole through the middle, which is nice, and then the plain grappling hook through it. It does represent how his grappling hook, grapple gun, looks in the movie pretty nicely. You got some nice printing on the front of the torso there. The copper of the belt is printed nicely, and it does have a nice little shine to it. Flipping him around, he does use that junior style cape that we're seeing more and more of, and because it is that spongy one hole, so it just lifts straight up, and you can see the back of the torso printing there, also printed very nicely. I would have loved to have seen some leg printing on this for the detail of the bottom of the body armor. And then the cowl, we've seen many times before. It's that second generation of it. And then the head, we've seen a lot of since this is the head that originated with Batman with the launch of the DC superhero theme in 2012. So same double-sided head, but let's get that switched out for a new head that is actually included. They included a new head that you can interchange for Batman here, and what this is supposed to represent is I'm going to get a little bit closer for the detail on this, but what this is supposed to represent is when Batman gives Scarecrow his dose of his own fear toxin. This is what Scarecrow sees is a demonic version of Batman. So you have all this shaped detail for the eyes, and then the mouth, which the teeth are printed in like this gunmetal gray color, so it kind of shines. So and putting the mask on, so you get the full effect. This looks really nice. It helps capture how Batman looks in that brief scene really well, and it also illustrates the point of for the movie figures, they don't really have to white out the eyes, because this shows that they can print eyes where the eye holes need to be. So kind of missed opportunity for all the previous live action Batmans we've gotten. So, but this is a really good head to get with Batman here. So I am really ecstatic that we got this head. So looking at the main build of the set, we have the Tumbler. This is very nicely built, and to start off with, let's get Batman here next to it for a little scale. This is our first minifigure scale one since 2013 with that crappy little Bane one, but this is substantially bigger and a little bit more beefier. And talking about the build here for a second, it's very nice. It's very compact, but it also utilizes a lot of nice techniques and a lot of unexpected building things that I didn't expect to use, and I certainly learned a few things, which is always good here. You do have flipping this over, it is built with one of those Speed Champions chassis to start you off with. But this is what I'm talking about, is to get these side angles of this panel here. to represent the actual vehicle. They kind of hinge it, and they kind of use those 1x2 with the whole pieces in there just to kind of offset this a little bit to make it really angular and recreate the vehicle very nicely. You do have different flaps here at different angles utilized pretty nicely. That just uses some slopes and part usage there just to kind of add some detail. Every decoration you see on this thing is a sticker, and it's pretty much consolidated and shrunk down versions of details that are actually on the vehicle. You have the gas tanks, you have this part, which is arguably a little bit more built up in the movie, but a sticker kind of just kind of captures it nicely. And then you have this fin piece back here, angled. That is new for the set in that color. And then you use the Lightning McQueen tail fin here in a black just to get a little bit more angle. Something that you can't really see much of after you build it, but you do have these round little things, which is supposed to be the gas tank for the back propulsion here, which is really nice. It's a detail that the designer didn't have to put in there, but I'm glad they did, and you don't really notice it until you build it, and you can't quite notice it unless you look at it from different angles. And compared to the Bane one, they actually did include the double tires at the back here this time, which is really nice, and they roll really well. You have the back propulsion, you have a little bit of gold for detail there. You have some spoiler pieces up here to create more of that shaping. Overall, just a really nice use of parts to create nice shaping and angles of this craft here. And another thing that the designer noted is how to get these front wheels on here without making it tied into a lot of stuff. So that is pretty nice. You do have those random bits of gold just sticking out. That's to represent, I think, some type of detail on the actual vehicle. So, and then you got a sticker here on the front to represent the front window that the pilot looks out to fire the guns here, which seeing that detail was previously missing off of every single version of this, which is super nice that detail is included on it is a sticker, but it is nice that it's included. How they captured the windscreens, the windshields on this thing is pretty nice too. They use like 3 windscreens, and then they just have all these hinged clip parts here just kind of just put on there, and then when you close the hood, it kind of just separates them, gives that nice little segmented look there. You have some trans pieces down there if you get real low enough for the headlights on this thing. But opening the cockpit up, this is also very nice how it's done. You can't really see it all that well getting in there. You do have 2 seats. It is a 2-seater vehicle. I'm happy that with the size of this vehicle, Lego kept that. The designer did. And you have some details for some controls right there in the center for the gear shift and stuff. You have a nice little other control panel for the steering yoke using a bucket handle piece. And then you have 2 stickers representing the consoles that are supposed to be all over the front here. But because of the scale, the designer really couldn't do it. But it is nice that it is at least represented there, albeit scaled down a little bit. This clip here, it's supposed to be to hold Batman's batarang there if you want when you put him into the vehicle. But then they left no place for the grappling hook, so you kind of just have to sit it down there. And when you put him in the vehicle, and he does sit pretty nicely because of the cape used. He does sit pretty nicely. The cape kind of does get flush there, but he does sit pretty nicely. It looks pretty nice sitting in the vehicle there. But overall, going over play features, there's not many. I mean, this thing does roll really nicely. It's that was a bad example, but that was poorly clipped on my part. Those do flip up if you want for braking and stuff, and these do angle if you want to see that as a play feature. These do roll very nicely. But the only other play feature here is the stud shooters up at the front for the artillery and firepower of this thing. And they're the old school stud shooters where you just hit it, it fires off. The studs included on this are doubled up just to have a little bit more of a look to the thing. But it is also like the 60s Batmobile. It is kind of a pain to get these back on the actual vehicle. So that does it for looking at the main build here. So looking at the extra parts here, for the extra ammo they give you pre-set aside, you do get one of the trans yellowish green studs for Scarecrow's fear toxin gun, and then you get two extra of the double studded for the Tumblers stud shooters. And then going into the main extra pieces, you can see you got an extra lever for the stud shooter, an extra batarang, because we always get those with Batman and his batarangs. You do get an extra one of the trans studs that's not counted as an extra ammo, but you can use it as that. A couple extra studs, extra T-slope. You get an extra one of those stamp pieces in gray there, an extra bucket handle. So pretty nice selection of extra parts here. Looking at the instructions, it's one big booklet. I would have thought they would have split this up into individual ones, but it is nice when they do this. Therefore, it is a little bit thicker, so it is bound at the spine there. You have the front box art of the set there, a QR code for the building app, though it's no longer behind that neat little border. Front two pages here, of course, you have the little recommendation that you build bag by bag. And then you have a little thing showing you that there is the building app there that you can download if you want to build utilizing that. This build pretty much goes together in 4 bags, 4 separate build theirs. It's pretty straightforward, though I will call out one big issue that I found throughout this instruction manual. You see here on this side, the green slopes that are in the interior of the Tumbler. And on some of the pages, and this is not the only page, it is this weird teal light blue translucent color, which is really odd. That is not a good QC thing. So somebody really should have caught that before this went out. But it does take 139 pages worth of building here. excuse me, 140, I guess. And then in the back of the instructions, you just have this thing for the Rebuild the World initiative that they got going on. And then you have the parts inventory at the back here. And then on the back, of course, you have the typical product feedback thing with the win, cool prizes. So looking at the box, it's the same style we've been seeing since 2019 for the Lego DC Batman base sets. You got Batman in the corner there. You got the Lego logo up top, the Dark Knight Trilogy merchandise logo up there in the corner as well. Set specs on the side there. Nice, really nice product shot of the Tumbler on what looks to be the rooftops of Gotham City. You got the minifigures down there at the bottom. DC logo in the corner there as well. Something I should know about this box, it is thick. It is way thicker than it needs to be and way bigger than it needs to be for a set of this size. I have no idea why this box is as big as it is. It certainly didn't need to be, especially for a $40 set, but top of the box you have Batman sporting the actual size reference, and then of course the back of the box you just have different product shots of the set and all the play features, as well as that nice call out of you having the alternate head for Batman. So again, really thick box, really big box, but so going over my final thoughts for the set, build-wise, I have no real complaints. It was a very nice, enjoyable build, very fun to put together, very enlightening with some of how the techniques the designer used to get some of the shaping for this vehicle, considering how angular and non-straight it looks in the actual movie. So I think the designer really pulled that off really nicely. It is a nice compact vehicle, so it does withstand a lot of rough play. Or it just looks nice on display too. My only real complaints or nitpicks are that the stud shooters, kind of hard to get the studs reloaded onto that thing once you fire them off. And then interior wise, I appreciate the accessory clip that they put on there. I frequently complain when they don't, but here they did it. But problem is they gave Batman 2 accessories in the set, and they only give 1 clip to put 1 accessory. So that kind of, I would have liked to have seen 2 clips right in that area just to hold both items. Minifigure wise, few complaints there. Why does Scarecrow randomly have a stud shooter when he doesn't have a gun like that in the movie? I understand playability wise that for imagination purposes, but for kids who haven't seen the movie, but that struck me as a little weird. I would have liked to have seen leg printing on Batman there. And another complaint, I do appreciate the alternate head for that scene specific thing, but that also highlights that they can put normal eyes where the white eyes are, so maybe they can work on that a little in the future of having with the live action Batmans of not having the white out eyes when none of them have had it in the movies that they put them in. So I also would have liked to have seen at least like 1 more minifigure for the set, given the price of this thing. This thing is $40 US for American dollars. The build wise, I certainly agree with that price. That build makes me feel like I got some of my money's worth, but I look over here at the figures, and I don't feel like I got my money's worth there. I think we should have gotten a third figure, maybe Rachel or the other villain of Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul, maybe Jim Gordon. Any of those would have been a nice inclusion for that price. It is certainly missing a third figure. I think that's where the set falls down the most, and that price. So that price is not worth it to me. Probably get the set on sale if you really want it. If you don't mind that $40 price, I don't begrudge you, but because it is missing that third figure that this set certainly needs at that price point, I'd say wait for it to go on sale if it hasn't already. So all in all, set's going to get a 7.5 out of 10 for me. So again, highly recommend it. Nice getting a Dark Knight Trilogy set for some reason in 2021, but it is nice getting whatever DC content we get for Lego sets. So this is definitely worth a pickup. But let me know what you think about the set in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, keep building.